In this video, we're going to take a look at text boxes in PowerPoint. If you know how to do text boxes in Word, they're pretty much the same in PowerPoint as they are in Word. I've got a blank presentation here with just one title slide, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click below it, and I'm going to insert a new slide here, and we will do title and content. And when you do any kind of a content slide, you get these 6 icons here. But none of them are for inserting a text box. They're all for inserting other kinds of things. So if you want to put a text box in here, let's go to our Insert tab. And let's go over here to Text Box. And we should get crosshairs. And now if we click and, let's try that again. So let's click and drag. Oh, you know what? We've already, hang on a second here. I'm going to delete what's there, and now let's try text box, and now let's click and drag, and we already had a text box there by default, but I wanted to show you how to insert one. So we got a text box here, and a text box is for holding text, so we'll just put a little bit of text in here, and notice as soon as you start typing stuff, it automatically resizes the height. The width remains the same. If you want to make it bigger, this doesn't work. The only way you can get some extra space on the end there. And also notice that when you click almost any place in the text box, you get the 4-headed arrow, which means that you can click and drag it and drop it any place you want to. But if I want to go in and start editing text, say I want to put a few more blank lines in here to make my text box a little bit taller, I have to get up really right up close to the end of a line here. If you get very far off, it turns into 4-headed arrows. There's like a couple of pixels there where this actually works. So right now I have a dotted line around my text box, which means that I can edit individual parts of my text box. And let's say that I want to go up here and change the font to red. Well, if I click on that, nothing happens because I don't have anything selected. So if I go here and drag the mouse over the word hello and click on red, that will turn red, but the other ones remain black. If I want to format the entire text box at once, I need to click up here with my 4-headed arrow on the edge of the text box, and the dotted line changes into a solid line. And when you've got a solid line, any formatting you do is going to apply to everything that's in the text box. So I can make everything red, I can make everything bold, italic, or underlined, and I'm going to turn those back off again. But solid line, you're formatting everything. Dotted line, you have to select what you want to format. Okay, when you have a text box selected, so I've got the handles around it here, and if I click on Drawing Tools, Format, this is the ribbon that I get. We'll look at most of the options on the ribbon here. First of all, there are a bunch of predefined styles for this, and so you can go in here and you can pick one, and we'll try this gradient blue one here, and actually, red hello doesn't really work very well for that, does it? Red and blue don't go together well. So let's go up here to text fill, and let's tell it that we want yellow instead, which looks a little bit better on a blue background. So we got a bunch of predefined styles here. You get a live preview if you move the mouse over them. We've got some options here for changing the shape fill. And so you can pick any color here, and we're getting a live preview on this stuff as well. If you don't want any fill, you can turn it off. We're going to leave it turned on. If those colors aren't enough, this will bring up this hexagon with colors. And if that's not enough, you can go to Custom here and select any one of the 16 million colors that are available on your computer. We're just going to leave it the way it is, though. For shape fill, there's also an eyedropper. An eyedropper is always used to select a color. So it says pick a color by clicking within the app window, and so you just click on it, and if that's the color you want to fill, so let's say I had something else over here that was the color I wanted my background to be, I would just take the eyedropper and click on that, and it would make the background that color. You can also put a picture in for a background. You can do a gradient, which is what I've got right now, or you can do a texture, and again, I don't know why you'd want to do a texture. Okay, so I got a black shape fill here somewhere along the way. So I'm going to go back up here to my shapes, and I'm going to go to gradient, and I'm going to go to, well, first I'm going to do a color. Let's do blue. And then I'm going to go and do a gradient, and let's try, I'll try that one right there. Okay. That's a little lighter blue than what I had before, but that's okay. We've got a shape outline here, and you've got options for an outline. Let's do a different color outline, so we'll do orange. It's not very big, so let's go down here and let's go to our weight, and let's do like a big fat orange line. And it's almost a brown, isn't it? Let's try red. There we go. So that's nice and easy to see. And then we've got some shape effects here. And we've got shadows, and I think I get a live preview if I do this. So as you pause the mouse over, you can see a bit of a shadow. It doesn't show up real well because it's not a very big shadow, but there's one that's pretty good. You can see the shadow over there on the right side. We can also do shadows on the inside. Now I think my border's kind of messing that up. So it's kind of hard to see the inside borders. And you can also have some borders like this that are, at an angle or make it look like it's floating. So, and if you want to customize, you can go down here and click on this, and you can customize as much as you want to. So, okay, we'll just turn like one shadow on there so we can see what the shadows are like. Let's go to effects again. We've got options for reflections, and each one of these has a name, and you can see the first one's pretty hard to see, but further across the right I go, the bigger the reflection is. So, and this just basically controls whether the reflection is touching or whether the reflection gets further away. So we're going to put a little reflection on here as well, in addition to the shadow. And let's check out some of our other effects. We can do a glow. And if I pause the mouse over each one of these, I should get a glow. And the further I go down here, the bigger glow I'm going to get. So let's put a big yellow glow around that. And so this is 18 points, and it's a gold glow, and the accent color 4, I'm not sure about, that's column 4 here. And you can customize that. So if you want something bigger than 18 points, just go down here and choose glow options, and you can get something bigger. We can also, I've been turning one on here all the time, haven't I? So let's do a yellow glow around the outside. Let's go back to, not outline, but let's go back to effects. And let's do soft edges, and you can see the edges get softer and softer and until we get to a 50-point edge, which is probably a little bit too much for this. So it softens up the edges, and if you choose too big a number here, you can basically wipe out almost everything that you've got. So let's do just kind of this one right here, so it softens up the edges a little bit. And then we've got a bevel effect, which makes it look kind of 3D. This may not look very good or be very easy to see because we've got a border around it. Hang on, I'm going to turn on or turn off the outline. And now, and I think I better turn off the soft edges as well. And now let's go to effects here, and now let's try bevel and see if that shows up a little more. Yeah, now that we've got some of those other things turned off, now we can see so it does like a 3D effect around the outside of your text box. And then we got some options for rotating here as well. I'm not sure how useful most of these are. I think most of the time you probably don't want these. But we've got a bunch of options here for shape effects. We can also do the same thing with our text here. We can change the fill color of our text. Right now it's yellow. I'm going to make it purple. We can change the color of the text outline. That's going to be pretty thin, and the text is kind of small here, so I think all I'm going to do if I pick something here is probably just make it kind of harder to read, unless I choose one of these dark colors down here at the bottom. That's probably something you don't need very much unless the text is really pretty big. Otherwise, the outline is pretty fine. And then we got text effects, and these are the same text effects that we had with our shape effect over here, which applies to the whole thing. This will apply like a shadow to the text. So I can do shadows, and I can do reflections. I'll just take like the first one here, and I've got reflection on my text. And the other stuff works exactly the same way with text. There is one additional one here, which is a 3D transformation. 2D transformation, and it will make your text, follow a path here, or it'll allow you to change the shape of the text. And again, these are ones I think are of questionable value, but that's an additional one that was not on this menu over here. And then the last thing we're going to take a look at is, we'll skip these things here but come back to them later. The last thing is setting the height and the width. And if I increase the height, now apparently on this one, the width stays the same. So if I want to change both of them, I have to do this independently. Or you can go to Format Shape here and you can tell it to lock the aspect ratio just like you can with a picture. And if I increase the width, as I increase the width, it gets taller as well. Okay, there are a few other things about text boxes, but we'll look at those in another video.